And as you heard, Leilani Simon, the mother of Quinton, has been named as the prime suspect in a homicide investigation. Okay, this isn't like where investigators are in the dark, what happened. No, they believe that this little child is dead, and they are looking at Quinton's mom, Leilani, as the prime suspect. As we sit here tonight, you know, I have a lot of questions for Leilani, a lot of questions. And she is invited to be on this program anytime. Let us know, you can come on. One of the questions I have, you know, what is your verdict? What do you think happened to your child? How did that child end up not inside your home? How did that child end up not safe in your care? What really happened that morning? What time did you wake up? Did you text the babysitter? If you're up at 5:30, what's going on at 5:30 in the morning? What's your relationship like with your boyfriend? What was he doing? Did you see him? When was the last time you saw your son? What were you doing the night before? Who else is in the house? Was the door open when you woke up? Were there tire tracks? What did you do when you found out your child was missing? And again, you know, what do you believe happened to your child? All the questions that I have. Anytime, let us know. You can come on, tell your story. Meanwhile, as we mentioned, protesters gathering outside of her home, they're looking for answers. They're looking for answers because of the amount of information that's come out. You know, the arrow and the fingers are pointing in one direction. And the questions that need to be answered is, where is that child? Where is Quinton? What happened to him? And the temperature is turning up in that neighborhood. And I don't think it's going to decrease. You know, there are times and there are cases and there are moments where members of the community kind of jump in because we know children need our help and our protection. And if that protection somehow is breached inside the home, then sometimes the community needs to jump in. But they want answers. Meanwhile, police who are investigating this, well, they're looking for the evidence. They want the evidence of what happened and who is responsible. Now, they've already indicated which way they are looking. But ultimately, in order to resolve this case and uncover the mystery of this disappearance, they're going to need evidence. And we'll see which way that evidence points. But they've given us an indication so far because they haven't told us everything that they know. Not everything. Meanwhile, the child in the middle of all this, Quinton, I mean, like any other young child, 20 months, he just wanted to be loved. Just wanted to be cared for. That's all they really want. You know, they want someone in their life who is going to protect them, who's going to take care of them, who's going to love them. When they become teenagers, I know it's a little bit of a different story, but look at this little guy. What else does he want? He wants someone to love, hold him, protect him, tuck him in, read him a story. That's all. That's all. All right, let's find out where we are and what's going on here. Let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Julie Janae, joining us live tonight from Quinton's home down in Savannah, Georgia. I hear voices in the background already. Julie, tell us about the scene tonight and what was happening today at Quinton's home.
Vinny, there are about 24 people who have gathered here tonight. They've got the same questions that you have. You can hear them behind me. They've been chanting, "Where is Quinton? No justice, no peace." That's an important call for this house behind me. And you can even see the group that's gathering on this side of the road, but also facing the house that's on this side. Today, police were here for an issue that happened with a car that was blocking another person. Let's take a look at that video here, where we did see that wooden fence of this house open. That's some of the rare movement that we see of people coming in and out. So it was a bit of an altercation that was not really explained. Someone who was inside the house trying to get out. That gray car there was blocking their exit. We heard some exchange between a woman who was in that car and a man who was in that truck, but ultimately the truck did drive away without any further incident. But there is tension here, and there is this clash between those who are on the street who say they are applying pressure and the family that's inside. So to bring it back outside and to tell you that wooden fence is here, and there's an open window of the house that has bright spotlights that are actually aimed into the yard. There are cameras on that house, very likely wanting to make sure they can see who gets close to their property. So the continuation of that question of why after 22 days they don't have answers about little Quinton Simon.
So while you're at the home tonight, obviously, and we can hear what's happening behind you, investigators are searching the landfill and looking for a child's remains. What's the latest in that search?
Today we did hear from police. They've been quiet for the last couple of days, but here's the latest tweet that we saw today that had to do with that landfill search. The Chatham County, Georgia Police Department, they say the search for Quinton has been the most massive undertaking ever for our department and has involved the work of well over 100 law enforcement and civilian personnel. They called it an exhaustive search of that landfill where they believe that Quinton's remains are located. That search is continuing, so no real end in sight. And what we're hearing from police, no indication of when they believe things are going to wrap up, how far they've moved in this search of the landfill that we've gotten some video of those searchers that are out there going through carefully. But as of now, 22 days later, this is 2 weeks of that search at the landfill with nothing more from police about what they may have found so far and if there is more they are still looking for.
So as we try to uncover and understand exactly, what happened that day, let's go back to October 5th and kind of work through the timeline of all of this, because we have gotten some information released in this case. What do we know about the timeline of October 5th?
Then I'm actually going to back it up just a little bit and start with October 4th, when the babysitter of this little boy told us she saw him at 4 o'clock that afternoon. So the next day, we know from police, but also from that babysitter. Here's a look at a timeline. At 5:39 in the morning, there was a text that the babysitter received about her services not being needed, that there were other arrangements that were going to be made about where Quinton would be. I clarified that with her today. She said that text was actually from Danny Youngkin, the boyfriend of Leilani Simon. Quinton's mother would also be the father of Quinton's younger sibling. Then around 6 o'clock is what we have on this timeline, because police say and confirmed in their press conference that Danny Youngkin told them that he did see Quinton in his bed, sleep at 6 o'clock in the morning. Then less than 3 hours later, 9:39 a.m. is when that 911 call was made to police about him being missing. And less than 3 hours after that, Chatham County Police, who were already investigating at that point, they say they were able to mobilize the FBI because they were told that this might be an abduction case. So that's why they were able to get the FBI here so quickly. October 12th, so a week after that, law enforcement then informed the family that they believe Quinton is deceased, and also said that Leilani Simon, his mother, was their prime suspect. They didn't name other people, but also didn't make an arrest or any charges in the case at this point. October 18th is when the search of that landfill began, and that, of course, is still continuing to this day.
Okay, so I want to go back to what you said in the beginning, because that's kind of new for me. So the actual text message to the babysitter comes from not Leilani's phone, but from the boyfriend's phone?
Correct. That is something that I had to clarify myself because it did have to do with the son of Leilani Simon, but she told me that it was actually Danny who sent that message to her at 5:39 in the morning. So that may have been around the same time, the 6 o'clock time that he told police that he did see him. But the nature of that text was, we're not going to need you to take care of Quinton, that he would be with his mom in the morning.
And so from that timeline, it's not clear if Leilani was up at that time in the morning or if she woke up for the first time, sometime around 9 or so before the call to 911.
Not clear. We don't know much about that from police, but I do know from talking to the babysitter. And the reason we're not naming her, she said that she does not want to be continually named in the media because she has received threats. But this is something that we spoke with her directly about. And she said that it was around 9 that she first got the call asking if she knew where Quinton was. And she actually crossed the street. Her house is not too far from here. She has her own memorial set up in front of her house. She made her way over to the house to help search, but she said she didn't go inside. She was searching around the property, and that she was the one. This is what she told us, is that she suggested that 911 be called, and that's when the call was made to police because they were unable to find him and thought that he may have been wandering around in this neighborhood.
Wow. Wow. So, again, a much clearer picture tonight of the scene that morning, which is significant. How do people react initially to what's happening? It's not clear if Leilani is text messaging, if she's up at that time. But the babysitter is called. The babysitter comes across the street, comes over. They're looking outside. Okay. Let's get back to Leilani. Now, I understand that you reached out to Leilani today.
Oh, I've been reaching out to Leilani for days now. We've tried every avenue that we can. Of course, it is difficult because they are very leery of anyone coming onto their property because of all of the commotion that's been here every night. But we've sent messages, we've called, we've left a note there on the door, and we did ultimately hear from a family friend, someone who indicated that they are reluctant to speak further, especially with this investigation going on, but mentioned that the friend feels that there needs to be more of a discussion about other possible suspects. They feel that there are other suspects in this case who aren't being focused on. Of course, we know what police have revealed is only one name, but with them saying prime suspect, there's also the possibility that there are other suspects who are not their prime suspect, but that is the name that has been released by police.
And obviously, we cover trials all the time, and we know that, police are supposed to follow all the leads and then see where the evidence takes them, not focus in on one person and not look anywhere else. And that seems to be what we're hearing from Leilani's camp. And there's like lights behind you. I saw, are they shining lights on Quinton's house, on Leilani's house, the mother's house tonight, the folks that are showing up there? Or are the lights going? Because I kind of saw a spotlight floating behind you just a short time ago.
Those might be our lights, Vinny. Not sure about lights that may be coming in, but it's possible.
There
are
it is.
candles.
There's the light.
See that they have set out candles. Oh, that is someone. Yep, that is someone who has a flashlight, and they are shining that onto the house. I can see that now. There are candles there on the ground that they've put down. So you have this contrast of a vigil, really, for a little baby. You have all of the stuffed toy animals. There was a woman today who stopped me. She was driving by with her kids, and she said, are we allowed to put down stuffed animals of flowers because my children want to? And we know the family has said that they welcome people to pay respects, but not to insult their family or to do some of the things that they're hearing from the chanting outside. So really two different types of remembrances going on here for a little boy who you'd think both sides of this fence, of this line here, the no trespassing line, both sides wanting more answers.
All right, Julie Janae live in Quinton Simon's neighborhood tonight. Protesters there still trying to get an answer as to what happened to that 20-month-old child. Julie's going to stay with us. We've got more on this investigation plus coming up next hour. In Waukesha, Wisconsin, 6 people murdered and more than 60 injured during last year's Christmas parade. And now today, justice delivered for the victims and their families in a dramatic verdict. We are live in Waukesha with all the reaction and all the fallout.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide.
30 years ago, a person dressed as a clown, holding flowers and balloons, rang the doorbell at Marlene Warren's home. But when Marlene answered, the clown shot her to death.
Advanced DNA testing led authorities to Sheila Keene Warren. The defendant ended up marrying the victim's husband.
It's like a Lifetime movie plot.
This is going to be a riveting case.
The Killer Clown Murder Trial. Live coverage coming soon on Court TV.
Any contact with Quinton's biological father?
We have had contact with him.
Is he at all, is he a suspect in this case? Has he been cleared?
He's not a suspect in this case.
So the biological father was not living with Leilani, Quinton Simon's biological father, but as you heard there from investigators, he's not a suspect into this. But 2 days into the search for little Quinton, Leilani Simon's 2 days in, Leilani Simon's mother, Billy Howell, spoke to a reporter with the local news station, WSAV, in Savannah, about her daughter's version of events. Court TV legal correspondent Julie Janae, joining us live tonight from little Quinton's home in Savannah, is with us as well. Do we want to take a look at what WSAV had there? Let's take a look at it.
I feel like whatever Leilani's story doesn't add up. Well, I've been talking with the baby's father, with Quinton's father. I've been talking with him all day yesterday, and he's already been questioned, and they've already went to his job and went to his home, and Quinton's not there, which is I didn't think he would be anyway. Why Leilani would even come up with a story like that, I don't even know.
How about that? How about that? And that's Quinton's grandmother, Leilani's mother, saying that her daughter's story doesn't add up. Let's bring back in Julie Janae. She's down there in Savannah, outside the home in the neighborhood. So what did Leilani tell police? Did they mention the biological? Did she mention the biological father? Was that what was said here? Was that her version of what happened that day?
Our understanding is that was part of this questioning of what may have happened, what could have happened, that if this was in fact an abduction, which we know was told to police, it's one of the reasons that the FBI got involved. But the biological father is an important part of this, or a question as to what happened, because when you do have a child that goes missing, that's one of the first people that police try to talk to, and they did talk to Henry Bubba Moss, but he doesn't live anywhere near here. He lives 86 miles away, further north in Georgia. And DailyMail.com senior reporter Sean Cohen, he's out of New York, but he was attracted to this story, has been here in the area researching, and he was able to track down the father about a week ago and had some very interesting information that we were able to talk to reporter Cohen about. Take a listen to what he learned from that interview with Moss. He said he was very somber, reluctant to talk at first, but eventually let him know this.
Leilani had told police that he had taken Quinton overnight. So he was being questioned about where he was overnight, October 4th into October 5th, and proved to police satisfaction anyway that he had nothing to do with it. He was home. He went to work that morning at 7 in the morning, and so he was shocked to learn this.
Sean Cohen also had some interesting information about the grandmother of this little boy, Billy Joe Howell, who we have reached out to several times, also about talking with us and sharing her side. And he was able to get this recorded information about a conversation that she purportedly had with the biological father. You heard her talking about in that clip you just played, where she's having a conversation with him about what happened and the story not adding up. But here's what he learned from that recorded interview between these two people.
During the conversation with Bubba earlier, Billy Joe shared her theory that actually it was Leilani and Leilani's boyfriend who were present and high on drugs, and that Quinton, she believed, had drowned in a bathtub. So it was a stark contrast to see what they said publicly versus what Billy Joe said to Bubba privately.
Cohen there referencing the public statement or public interview that was given by not only Leilani Simon, but also her mother was there with her, supporting her in them both saying they just want to know what happened. They don't plan to go anywhere. Police have said that Simon is not a flight risk, and that's one of the reasons that they're not concerned about her not being under arrest at all. And Simon has echoed the same, that she doesn't plan to go anywhere. And if something does come up where she is at fault, she says she'll turn herself in to police as well. But major information coming from this report from dailymail.com having to do with the biological father and his conversation with the biological grandmother.
So Bubba, biological father, conversation with Quinton's grandmother. Quinton's grandmother gives her theory, believing that the child, that her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend high on drugs, and maybe the baby drowned in the tub. Now, we're not saying that's what happened, but that's what one of the potential theories is of Quinton's grandma, who's in the house behind you with Leilani. Wow, that's huge. What do we know about Leilani Simon? I mean, what's her story? What's her background?
I know she's 22 years old. She's a mother of 3 children, and just based on her social media, she seemed to really enjoy being a mother. She listed herself as engaged to the boyfriend that we keep hearing about, Danny Youngkin, who would have been with her, with the child. They both also have a younger child together, but of course he's not the father of Quinton or of her older child. But I was able to look at a Facebook page that we believe to be hers, where she lists her last name as his last name, and found it interesting, some of the things that she was saying just before the disappearance of Quinton. Here's one of them. On August 22nd, which would have been about 2 months beforehand, she says, I need mom friends, and not mom friends that drop their kids every weekend to go out, but mom friends that want to meet up at the park with the kids and have a lunch date. On September 18th, she posts that she can't even horseplay with her man and kids without someone coming into the room assuming the worst. And I believe at that time she was living here at this home with her parents. On September 25th, she writes that she's in need of homes for rent in Savannah, Georgia area within an $800 to $1,300 price range. If anyone knows about or any place that's kids friendly in a neighborhood like that, let me know. Vinny, not sounding like a mom who doesn't want to be a mom, someone who sounds like she very much enjoys being a mom and taking care of her kids there.
Absolutely. Sounds really normal. I want like mom friends. I mean, to me, and you know, that sounds like every other mom, right? You want other moms that have kids so you can get together, play dates and all. That's it. Wow. I wasn't expecting that. Julia Janae digging up a lot of information tonight. Julia, thanks so much. I want to, anything else happens down there tonight, let me know, obviously. But I want to bring in, from Los Angeles, California, forensic psychiatrist, trial expert witness, columnist of Inside the Criminal Mind, Dr. Carol Lieberman. All right, Dr. Lieberman, I'm trying to unpack, first of all, who this young mother is. She's been named as a prime suspect. You've got her own mother in some recorded conversations theorizing that Leilani was on drugs and high and somehow the child accidentally drowned in the bathtub, something like that. Meanwhile, we see these Facebook posts that sound very much like a normal mom, right? So what's going on inside that house? What's going on in her life?
Well, I think Leilani was, despite her posts, was anything but a normal mother. She has quite a history of drug abuse, cocaine. The father of Quinton talked a lot about Leilani, about how she was always high on coke and marijuana, and she would sleep with men to get money to buy more coke. You know, that she has 3 children from different fathers and so on. And clearly the mother, the grandmother, Billy Joel, you know, to have created Leilani, to have had a house where Leilani grew up, I mean, that was an incredibly dysfunctional household. Dysfunctional doesn't say it. There were people who were abusing drugs. They were in jail. The uncle of Quinton, in other words, the brother of Leilani, is in jail or prison, or he's for murder, for manslaughter. There's all kinds of, it's a whole family of dysfunction and criminality. I think what the grandmother said, you know, probably seems like the most likely explanation, because I think that would place the 2 of them as being likely up together doing drugs. In other words, Leilani and her boyfriend Danny. And there are reports that Danny has left town, so that's kind of suspicious. So maybe they were in it together. But one of the things I think is fascinating is Leilani's state of mind. You know, she's on the one hand, in terms of what happened to Quinton, on the one hand, she's, you know, saying she doesn't know, she doesn't have a clue, you know, kind of like Casey Anthony did. You know, she pretended for a long time, Casey Anthony, that she knew nothing about whatever happened to her daughter. And then also, is it denial? You know, is Leilani in denial about what happened? Is she delusional after all the coke she's been having? Could she be delusional about what happened? And the police were telling her that maybe it was the shock of the daughter of Quinton, of Quinton being killed, of her killing him, or it being an accident or whatever, that maybe that shock has caused her to forget what really happened. I think that's being rather generous to Leilani. But, you know, one of the things that caught me, and you probably read this quote yourself, they say such strange things. Leilani said, we want him back in our arms, holding us. Of course, you know, it's really that she should be wanting to hold him, not him taking care of her. But anyway, that's what we want. We're just hoping he's in somebody's house and they're feeding him. And maybe they wanted a baby or couldn't have a baby. Maybe they thought they were his savior. She talks about him like he was a stray cat, that maybe a pet cat of hers that somehow she's hoping landed up in a neighbor's house. I mean, it is really very distorted.
Dr. Carol Lieberman, always great to have your insight and perspective. Thank you so much. We'll see you again really, really soon.